Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So Jurgen Klopp slams Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics. He obviously wasn't happy the way Solskjaer set his team up in the 0-0 draw with Liverpool. Now, this is what Jurgen Klopp explained. He said, "The worst thing you can face in football is you play a side with world-class players and they defend with all they have, deep in the box and good in counter-attacking." It was a few weeks ago Jurgen Klopp was moaning about the amount of penalties we get, because he was saying we get a penalty every 3 games, and he mentioned that we've had more penalties in 2 years than he's had in 5.5 years at Liverpool. Reflecting on that, Solskjaer hit back at Jurgen Klopp. But we was very, very good defensively against Liverpool. Like I mentioned on my match reaction, Luke Shaw was the best player for me. He got forward well. Defensively, he was good. And Luke Shaw has really, really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. My only element of concern about him is that he is injury prone. He definitely had Salah in his pocket. Harry Maguire, I thought he also did very, very well defensively. He did actually make a mistake in the first half though, that could have been costly. And he got forward well at times, did Maguire. Victor Lindelof, he enjoyed a very, very good game. Made some very good blocks and he made some very, very good clearances. I think we should have started Bay though ahead of Victor Lindelof, because I think Bay is a better centre-half than Lindelof. But my only element of concern about Bay is that he is injury prone. But Bay's done very, very well since he started playing again. Solskjaer explained why Lindelof started instead of Bay, because I think he said that Lindelof was preparing for the game against Liverpool all week. And Wan-Bissaka also did very, very well. I think he got forward well at times and defensively did well. We had 2 big chances in that game. Bruno Fernandes, he had a fantastic chance, produced a fantastic save from Alisson. Paul Pogba also had a fantastic chance, again produced a fantastic save from Alisson. So we had more clear-cut chances than Liverpool. But to be honest with you, we didn't show as much as attacking intent as we should have done in the game. Obviously Liverpool, they dominated the vast majority of the possession. Obviously that was expected to happen. Liverpool had a great chance through Thiago. It was a very, very good save from David De Gea. They also had chances though in the first half. Obviously Roberto Firmino, he had a couple of chances. There was obviously one where he could have actually squared it to Andrew Robertson, but he didn't. Salah, he had a couple of chances. I think Shaqiri also had one in the game. I thought Jordan Henderson and Fabinho did very, very well for Liverpool. They made some very, very good interceptions. But in the end, you can say a draw was a fair result. Solskjaer gave his perception on the game, like I mentioned on my match reaction yesterday. And he said, he was disappointed. It was a missed opportunity because we could have actually gone 6 points clear of Liverpool. But he admits we lacked composure. But I think we'll be happier with the point than Liverpool. You know, it's the first time since 2005 that Liverpool have failed to score in 3 straight league games, and Liverpool are now winless in their last 4 league games. But the good news from their perspective is that they are still unbeaten at Anfield in the Premier League since April 2017. So I think they're now unbeaten in 68 Premier League games at Anfield. But, you know, Solskjaer was obviously saying prior to the game that, you know, Liverpool have been the best team in England for the past 18 months and they have been great for 3 years. But we can't beat the big sides under Solskjaer, and that's been proven so far this season. You know, we haven't beaten Tottenham, we haven't beaten City, we haven't beaten Chelsea, we haven't beaten Leicester, we haven't beaten Arsenal, and obviously we haven't beaten Liverpool. But the good news is, you know, we still remain top of the league by 2 points now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the first Man United manager to get us top at this stage of the season since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So we can certainly win the Premier League title. You know, there's quite a few teams that are in it. You know, if we don't win the league this season, you know, I think we will win another Premier League title at some point. If we do, it will be our first Premier League title since 2013 and our 21st title overall. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League now for almost a year, and that's a very, very good record, and we are unbeaten in our last 12 Premier League games. So you can see that Solskjaer has turned a corner. Obviously, our next game is Fulham at Craven Cottage. That is on Wednesday, 8:15 kickoff. I will be giving you my preview for that game on my next video. It's a must win against Fulham. You know, we should be beating Fulham anyway. You know, Fulham have not beaten us in their last 11 Premier League meetings with us, and they are relegation fodder. You know, Fulham are sitting 18th. They probably are going back down. Obviously, we do play Liverpool in the FA Cup 4th round at the weekend at Old Trafford. It'll be interesting to see how both teams approach that game. You know, we are the second most successful team in FA Cup history because we have won 12 FA Cups. I think Liverpool have won around 7 or 8, but Liverpool have not won the FA Cup since 2006. And yeah, the FA Cup is a priority for us. Don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently gave us an update on our January transfer plans. He did say that January signings are unlikely, but Solskjaer admits there could be furthermore departures from Man United in this January transfer window. This January transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as Manchester United manager. And Ed Woodward obviously promised that he will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He did say towards the end of last year that we will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Don't forget, Timothy Fosu-Mensah recently left the club to join Bayer Leverkusen. We made the right decision by getting rid of him. Solskjaer has confirmed that Sergio Romero and Marcus Rojo are free to leave in this January window. He says their contracts won't be extended. Will Phil Jones leave in this January window? Will Jesse Lingard leave? Solskjaer's in a disagreement with Jesse Lingard's future. You know, Solskjaer recently said that he wants Lingard to stay at the club this month. I think Ighalo will leave. His loan expires at the end of this month. There's obviously been rumours of Daniel James going out on loan, and there's also been rumours of Brandon Williams going out on loan, because Brandon Williams is now our third choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles, and I think more players will leave Man United in the summer. By the way, Ed Woodward has informed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that the club needs to be careful with their spending. But we have got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot of credit. You know, we're top of the Premier League table. You know, earlier on this season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. Obviously, we lost that to Manchester City 2-0. Obviously, last season, he got us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League, and also got us third. Despite our reluctance to back Solskjaer with transfers, I still think, you know, he's made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. We've also seen a lot of players leave the club since he got recommended in, and I think his decision making starting to be very good now. His decision making just got to be good persistently, because in obviously a lot of his games at Man United he has been very naive, and reflects on that. That's cost us in some games. You know, putting the stats into circulation now, you can say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. Certainly a much better manager than David Moyes was. You know, David Moyes is the worst ever manager we've ever had, I'd say. And, you know, Solskjaer, you can say, starting to bring the old Man United back. Because obviously our performances are improving. Players are improving. In a lot of games this season, especially away from home, we have come from behind, and we used to do that quite a lot under the Sir Alex Ferguson era. If Solskjaer wins the Premier League this season, he is the long-term manager for Man United. But a lot of United fans, or all United fans, are now Ole in, reflecting how good we have been in recent months. But earlier on in the season, there was a lot of Man United fans that were Ole out. And I was one of them as well, and I was very, very critical of him, reflecting how inconsistent we was, but with how good we have been in recent months. You know, my perception slowly started to change on Solskjaer. But we do deserve credit for sticking with him. Like I said, our board have a soft stance on him, with him being a club legend, but Solskjaer could have easily been sacked. You know, he was lucky not to be sacked after our exit from the Champions League. He was lucky not to be sacked after our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. He was lucky not to be sacked at the first part of last season. You know, so he has endured bad periods. And, you know, when Solskjaer was under pressure, Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to replace him. Pochettino was the favourite to take over at Man United when Mourinho got sacked. But obviously Pochettino's totally out of the equation now, because obviously Solskjaer's not under pressure now, and plus he's PSG's manager. I think he won his first trophy with PSG, by the way. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the club, like I've mentioned on my recent videos, I think he's gained some managerial experience. You know, Man United is the third club in his managerial career. You know, he's managed over 100 games for the club in all competitions. I think he's learnt quite a bit as well. You can probably still say there's things that he's still got to learn on the job. Solskjaer's been Manchester United manager for over 2 years now, and he's got a contract with the club until 2022. Like I said on one of my recent videos, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on course to earn himself a new contract with Man United. Now, when Solskjaer got the job permanently in March last year, he signed a 3-year contract, I think he's more than halfway through now his 3-year contract. And this is his second full season at Manchester United, isn't it? And I did say, didn't I, this season was always going to be a big season for him. Do you think if we finished 4th or finished 3rd or finished 2nd and won a trophy, do you think that would represent a good season for Man United? Now, some United fans would say yeah and some United fans would say no. But yeah, there's 3 trophies we can pursue this season. We can win the Premier League, we can win the FA Cup, and we can win the Europa League. We need that first trophy on the board under Ollie to give us obviously more confidence. We haven't won a trophy now for just over 4 years. We appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in as Man United manager in December 2018 because he obviously came in to replace Jose Mourinho. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. That was obviously Moyes, sacked him after 10 months. Sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. I've already given you the reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. Is because, he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players, and basically the board just weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in. And this is what I have been saying, Solskjaer has been facing the same problem as Mourinho was regarding transfers. But I've said to you, haven't I, the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. Woodward's been at the club since 2012. And the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. We've spent over £1 billion since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And we brought around 36, 37 players in. And I think a lot of them players haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. We've made quite a lot of mistakes since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And that's why, was inconsistent under Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho. And it's also why we've had some bad periods as well under Solskjaer. A lot of United fans did say a while back that the club made a mistake by giving him the job permanently, but with him doing well in that 3-month period as interim manager, that's what obviously got him the job permanently. Obviously, if he hadn't done well, he wouldn't have got the job permanently. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting deadwood. He was inheriting quite a lot of deadwood when he got appointed in. He's got rid of some of the deadwood now. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. But like I said to you, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. I think we're looking to make around 4 signings this year to complete our squad overhaul. Now, obviously, you already know the news on Declan Rice. This was stemming from ESPN saying that Manchester United are set to rival Chelsea for Declan Rice. Apparently, Declan Rice is Frank Lampard's top target. Frank Lampard was infuriated when he missed out on Declan Rice. I think West Ham valued him at around £80 million. Declan Rice is only the age of 22, still very young, Premier League proven, predominantly a holding midfielder, but you can also put him as a centre-half. He's got a contract with West Ham until 2024. There's also an option to extend his contract for a further 12 months. Yeah, he's been at West Ham several years, but before he was at West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in Chelsea's youth setup for a long time. Now, not so long ago, I give you the news on Sergio Ramos. Now, the last time I read up about Sergio Ramos, it said that Man United were willing to offer him a 2-year contract, and we was thinking about getting him on a free transfer when his contract expires with Real Madrid, and Dimitar Berbatov urged us to sign Sergio Ramos. I'm very, very sceptical of coming to Man United. You know, he's been at Real Madrid now for around 16 years. He's made over 600 appearances for them in all competitions. I think he scored around 100 goals or just over 100 goals. He's won around 22 major honours with Real Madrid. Real Madrid paid around 27 million euros for him from Sevilla back in 2005. You already know the news on Jadon Sancho. France Football via Sports Witness recently said that Borussia Dortmund are looking for replacements for him, and it actually says that they've identified their replacements. If Sancho leaves Dortmund, it will be in the summer. It won't be in this January transfer window. But it did actually say that we could sign Sancho in the summer transfer window, and we believe we can get him for less than £100 million. Sancho made an admission not so long ago saying that it's been a difficult season for him with Dortmund, but he's happy to be back among the goals. Fabrizio Romano has been talking a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga. So too has Bill's Christian Falk. You know, last summer Jadon Sancho was our number one priority target, but we couldn't come to an agreement on a fee with Dortmund. You know, Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million, and we was not willing to meet that valuation. I think we was only willing to pay at the most £60 or £70 million up front. Dortmund actually wanted more up front. But it said a few times last summer that the personal terms had been agreed and the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. But analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2023. Dortmund only paid £8 million to him from Man City back in 2017. And don't forget, last summer we was willing to offer him the number 7 shirt. Wasn't we? You already know the news on Erling Haaland as well. Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig, he's been on our agenda. I think there's quite a few Man United fans that are very sceptical he'll come in. But he is available for £39 million at the end of this season, because that's when his release clause does become active. But like I said to you, there's quite a lot of players at Man United that have impressed me this season. Marcus Rashford's impressed me a lot this season. There has been some games where he hasn't been that consistent. But overall, he's still a very, very good player, is Rashford. You know, sometimes we play him out wide and sometimes we play him centrally. Rashford has been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then, he has become an integral part of our team. Yeah, obviously he played against Liverpool recently. He was fairly quiet, Rashford. He was caught offside far too many times, especially in that first half. Edison Cavani, he's really, really impressed me since he come in. Cavani's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Not so long ago, he was serving a 3-match ban for the racist comment that he put on social media last month. Obviously, he did apologise for that, like Solskjaer confirmed. Solskjaer spoken about Edison Cavani earlier on in the season, saying that he's definitely a starter. We're already looking to extend his contract, and Solskjaer revealed the first thing that Cavani asked him when he came into the club, and that's whether he could wear the number 7 shirt. We got him on deadline day last summer. You know, he signed a 1-year contract on Man United with an option of a 2nd year. And I said when we got Cavani, you know, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Martial's been impressive in a couple of games this season. He hasn't been impressive in a lot of games though, because in a lot of his games, he hasn't really been that clinical, has he? Certainly earlier on in the season, Martial was out of form. But don't forget, earlier on in the season, he had that 3-match suspension in the Premier League because he got sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. But Martial was good last season. Last season he was playing a lot up top. And he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. Martial's been at the club now over 5 years. Sometimes we play him centrally, sometimes we play him out wide, but Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. You know, Bruno Fernandes, world-class player. You know, he's our best player, and he's the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Bruno Fernandes hasn't been great recently. You know, he weren't brilliant against Liverpool. You know, he did have his chances like I mentioned. But prior to that, it was quiet with Bruno Fernandes and quite wasteful. But in most of his games at Man United, you know, he's been very, very consistent. He has been at the football club now almost a year. You know, Bruno Fernandes won Player of the Month for December. You know, he's won that now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. He predominantly plays as a number 10. Bruno Fernandes was disappointed that we didn't win a trophy last season, because obviously he said he came to Manchester to win trophies. Now, I think Donny van de Beek is a good player. That's when he plays. He seldom starts in the Premier League. He's only started 2 games in the league so far this season, and that was West Ham and Southampton. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. Now, sources in Italy recently said that Inter Milan are willing to take Donny van de Beek on loan. Then it actually said Donny van de Beek's made his decision. You know, he wants to stay at Man United and fight for his place. Quite a few weeks ago now, Solskjaer was talking about Van de Beek. He actually insists that Van de Beek has got a bright future with Man United, and he tips Donny van de Beek to emulate Fred and Lindelof by succeeding at the club. You know, don't forget Van de Beek can play in 3 different roles. We got him in a deal worth £40 million. You know, we paid £35 million to him up front, and there was £5 million in add-ons. Paul Pogba's impressed me since he come back from that ankle injury. Paul Pogba had that ankle injury earlier on in the season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury, and he had a minor injury not so long ago. Now, in the game against Liverpool, Paul Pogba was playing in more of an advanced role. You know, I think Solskjaer is happy with happy playing Paul Pogba in that position. Now, Paul Pogba could leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. I said if he does leave, it will be this summer. It won't be in this January transfer window. You know, Fabrizio Romano, don't forget, he recently said that Paul Pogba will leave in the summer, providing that an agreement is reached. You know, Juventus are preparing to make a move for him in the summer. He says they would hope that we'd be open to a player plus cash deal. You know, PSG, you know, they've been in for him. It said the other week that Pochettino's identified Paul Pogba as his number 1 target. Real Madrid, Barca and Inter Milan have been in for him before. We revealed our asking price for Pogba. We want around £75 million. You know, I think Fred's been impressive in games this season as well, but he's also enjoyed bad games. McTominay can be good when he wants to be. Like I mentioned, I've been very, very impressed with Luke Shaw. Still remains our number 1 despite Telles coming in. You know, I've been very, very impressed with Harry Maguire. He's bounced back from his early season troubles. I've been very impressed with Bailly since he started playing again. I think we've got to play him against Fulham. And Wan-Bissaka's impressed me in games this season, but we've obviously got concerns about his lack of attacking intent and his distribution. And, you know, David De Gea, he's getting back to his best. So we have got very, very good players in there. It's certainly good enough. The squad's certainly good enough to finish in the top 4 at least. But would you say, as our squad stands at the moment, that's a title-winning squad? You know, even Solskjaer has said that we need to make more signings if we are to be genuine title contenders. But Solskjaer's been playing mind games, because I have heard him say quite a few times that, you know, we're not in the title race as yet. So anyway, guys, on my next video I'll be giving you a full Man United preview. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.